In our top story this morning, the Concourt is all set to hear the SASSA CPS issue in a short while from now on. Well, the Treasury and the Social Development Ministry say they are confident that the grants will be disbursed on time. But both seem to be passing the buck when it comes to accountability. Placing the onus of distribution on Bathabile Dlamini, the Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan said the final decision rests with the Constitutional Court. Gordhan says he will only support the extension of the invalid CPS contract if the Constitutional Court clears it. Meanwhile, Black Sash is asking for the following: that any new contract with CPS to be brought under the supervision of the court when the present contract expires on the 31st of March. It also says that SASSA should comply with its obligation to provide social assistance in a lawful manner that is in line with constitutional rights and values.
What we're expecting is that in terms of our court papers, is that the Constitutional Court, we have actually pleaded that they take their role in terms of supervisory role, and we are hoping that if the contract goes on, there will be protection in terms of the information of the beneficiaries. That should be very secured and very protected. And again, the account itself needs to be a ring fence, that no transaction goes off those accounts based on the experience that we've had previously and for the past from 2012, that which we've seen, which actually erodes and takes away what would be basically meant for basic needs, and it goes to different needs. We would like to see that the oversight of the Concourt be reinstated.
There has been 6 parties who've opted to be distributors of the SASSA social grants, and SASSA has come out to say that although they do approve of any other distributor if it's not going to be CPS, unfortunately they can't have people who are 70% ready, because what happens to the 30%? They can't have people who are 80% ready, because what happens to the 20%? So they need somebody who's 100% ready with biometrics, with their files, with everything, in order to give those 17.5 million beneficiaries their social grants each and every month timelessly.
And now my colleague Gerabetze Mahlobo takes us through the proposals SASSA has placed before the court.
Let's take a look at SASSA's proposal to the Constitutional Court. They propose that they be allowed to use CPS for grants delivery for the next 2 to 3 years as an interim measure. Now, SASSA will invite bids for appointing new distributors as early as possible. SASSA says that the CPS demand for higher commission should be within reasonable limits. The CPS should not be allowed to share the SASSA database for illegal deductions. SASSA is to report back to the court on the implementation of the CPS deal. They propose that either the Public Protector or the Auditor General or both institutions should together supervise CPS deal and its implementation. And lastly, they propose that either the Public Protector or the Auditor General or both institutions should together supervise the appointment of the new administrator.
And this is where the Treasury stands on the matter. Treasury says it is possible for the Concourt to grant SASSA permission to negotiate an interim arrangement directly with CPS. Treasury, however, will not grant the deviation unless the Concourt approves the proposal. And lastly, the Treasury wants to use a mix of delivery tools like the banks and PayPoint. The South African Post Office has officially made themselves available to replace Cash Paymaster Services as the country's social grants distributor. CEO Mark Barnes submitted an affidavit to the Concourt as part of the Post Office's application to be admitted as a friend of the court. Barnes states in the papers that the Post Office had already submitted an emergency backup solution to SASSA in the case CPS pulled out. The Post Office says it will help by using an electronic voucher system already used to pay staff employed at the Department of Public Works in the Eastern Cape. Amidst widespread calls for the resignation of Social Development Minister Bathabile Dlamini has fingered the SASSA CEO for the social grants fiasco. In an affidavit to the Constitutional Court, Dlamini has alleged that Thokozani Magwaza did not act on advice on a legal CPS contract. Dlamini said she had warned Magwaza of the situation at a meeting on the 20th of February, but he acted in defiance of her instructions. Dlamini said she made it clear to Magwaza in February that she expected SARS executive to act urgently. She alleges Magwaza did not heed her advice and did not take any urgent steps to redress the situation. Dlamini said Magwaza had bypassed her and instituted proceedings at the Constitutional Court. In her affidavit, Dlamini also says Magwaza applied to Treasury for authority to deviate from the normal bidding process on the CPS contract, contrary to any legal advice.
Right now, where we stand with a few days left before the dreaded April 1, 2017 comes, is that for some unexplained reasons, both the Minister Batabile Dlamini and the agency SASSA, they seem to be having this belief that it is a royal birthright for CPS to be the administrator of this pension payouts, or rather the grants payout. And I don't know where really that belief comes from, because they haven't explained it. Even today when we saw it, I mean, I just really, it's very tragic, if I really can maybe put it mildly. And one wonders, why did SASSA specifically not rather approach the court on two things? First and foremost, against the company Cash Paymaster Services, so that they secure the database. Today we saw in the hearings in Parliament that the database, there's still no certainty as to who actually owns it. And I have said that that database belongs to the state. Therefore, if they had followed that course of action, it would have made sense.